your campaign very well, knowing the fact that you have followership in that particular local government. I think it is just natural that if the campaign was properly done, you would have earned a lot of votes from your electorate. Please, it is not for, no problem, but I know that what she is presenting here was duly signed by your agents. Thank you. The next person, please.
My name is Right Honorable Talford Ongolo, our state returning officer, sir. We have a novel problem here. Now, under the Electoral Act and even the regulations guiding the conduct of this election, various levels of collation have been established. And immediately preceding this collation point should have been a local government collation exercise center. But in this particular case, there was no collation at the local government level. Yes, because of the crisis, the violence that characterized some areas in Brass, admitted, and in fact, reasonably, INEC directed that, because we all know that somebody even died, people were brutalized, and a lot of things went wrong there. So INEC directed that they should bring the collation to this in good faith, which was acceptable to everybody. Now, as at last night, we have been expecting our respectable collation officer. I was also personally involved, waiting for her, until the local government collation agent left here 10 p.m. and in fact even helped to convey some stranded people to their hotel. So this morning, I called him because I was here 6:30 a.m. And I called him, I said, go back and check because it will commence this morning. Only to be told that collation had been done. If it was done 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, later tell us. Because we are not based, because this is a matter, we have to do things right. So only to be told here that collation had been done and that I'm not attacking the merits yet, but because in this particular case, I have with me, and she knows, she had even acknowledged it, there was a petition forwarded to her in her system saying that there were hijacking of votes in some wards. This is it. So in a case like this, it would have been, common sense dictates that she ought to have ensured that at least message was sent to the agents and others to be present at the collation points. So that is the case, and I urge this House very seriously, with all the emphasis at my command, with due respect, sir, that this issue be resolved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to say, please, you can have your seat. I want to say that we appreciate all the party agents for raising issues about the results that are so far being presented to at the collation center here. But the point is this, please. I think we should be very fair to the INEC itself. Elections, once organized, you have all the available information. And, you know, I want to say this thing with all emphasis, please, that a loyal party agent should be absolutely loyal and to be responsible enough to follow these results as the movement dictates, so that your party agent should be able to tell you, this is where we are, this is where the result is, and I have a certified copy. But I think we should look at it from that angle. Where and how, I like the way, and I want to sincerely appreciate the fact that you have already pointed out to the fact that there were security challenges. And you have also pointed out, in fact, it's the first time I'm even hearing that a life was lost. That calls for, the electoral officers to be very, very careful. So long as the results and everything, and then your agents are there, I think nothing happens to the results. Thank you, please. Thank you. No, sir, she's not under a cross-examination, please. Please. Please.
It appears on the face of it that there are grave allegations that while with full knowledge that we had issues, that we were not opportune to be, and that we were here up to 10 p.m. So if she came thereafter 1 o'clock, 2 a.m. and did the collation, we are saying that let the house be aware that this we were not.
I think what is important is the result. Unless if you are contesting that this is not the result that your party agents gave you, I think that should be the merit of the case. But in this case, you have not been able to convince us, or you have not even raised an issue that has to do with the result. But when the results were collated, and that is your argument, I'm simply saying that your party agents have given you the results, certified results, and they were duly signed by this agent. It therefore simply means that the result, how they were collated, knowing fully well that there was a breach of security, which you have confirmed.
Hold on now.
All right? It therefore means that we also have responsibility here, the INEC, to protect this staff. I hope you understand, sir.
Please,
Thank you.
I want to be wait now, hold on. I want to be understood clearly. What I'm saying is that had results were hijacked from certain wars and that a petition had been written to.
No problem. We have it.
So it was at that collation center that the issues were supposed to have been resolved before coming to present the collated.
But have you been able to put it to your agent why he signed that result and collected it?
No,
because these are valid.
No, nobody signed any result. We have not even seen it. No police. Yes.
I'm surprised. But what is the result that is there?
Let us speak. Please let us speak.
The result that is with you, is it signed by party agent in particular? No. Please, we can do. Please, I am coming. I will get to you. We will get to you, please. My brother, we will just hold on. No.
And he has made grave allegations. And you should allow me to speak, please.
I'm not going to stop you from talking. Just hold on now. Get the mic. Coalition officer, give. Yes, please. Okay.
Now, first, to make the clarification, my name is Dr. Dennis Otiotio. I'm the agent of APC. Now, one, there was no security breach in the election. There was no security report anywhere. But INEC, the reason best known to the REC, wrote a letter to the commander of NNS Soro that materials for brass, Nembe, and Southern Nigeria should be collected in Yinagwa. While materials, these are APC strongholds, while materials for Sabama, Ekaramo, Ogbea should be collected, and Kolga should be collected in their various local government areas. These are PDP strongholds. Now, during the election, there was no report. The Commissioner of Police is here. DSS is here. Other security agencies are here. There was no report of any security breach in Brass. What happened was that at this collation, local government collation, when the instruction came that they should move the materials to Yunakwa, the people resisted. They said, no, you can't move collation. That they want to rig the election, so they should collect at Brass. That was where the problem started. The Commissioner of Police can attest to it. So when my learned friend here says there was security breach, that was why the collation was moved from Brass to Yunakwa, that is not correct. The Commissioner of Police, the Director of the State Director of DSS, and other security agencies can attest. Now, secondly, it is a rule, even in the INEC guidelines, it is not compulsory for all party agents to sign. For instance, I was held up by security agencies that they refused me to enter that place. I was struggling, but the collation continued. If I was not here, that will not invalidate the process. It is not compulsory that all party agents must sign the results. It is only party agents who are present and who are willing that are ought to sign. Not people. she cannot force anybody to sign results. Secondly, we are all aware, he himself is aware, that it was late before the issue of moving the thing to this place was resolved. And they moved, the EO and moved to this place. We are aware that in his own local government up to now, they have not concluded. We are aware that as they come, they collate. And so, like you said, his party agent ought to be diligent and ought to be here in this place to wait for them to come. For him to say that they went to sleep, that is the relation of duty. And so you cannot now shift that blame to her or to INEC. Secondly, somebody raised an issue, NRM. I look at the result. In Sakoma, they scored 0-1. He did not complain. In Kolka, they scored 0-2. He did not complain. In Karama, they scored 0-2. He did not complain. In Sakoma, those are areas where PDP was winning. They were giving the 1-2. He did not complain. Now in Brass, that is when he is complaining. It's unfortunate.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Please.
So I've not finished, sir. I've not finished. Lastly, I've not finished. We too, we made a formal complaint that in Ward 7, Ward 9 and Ward 10 precisely, that they bypassed beavers. In Ward 9 and Ward 10, Sangana, they bypassed the beavers and wrote results. We made that complaint, but they said we should write. And we're waiting.
Thank you, party agent. Once you've made a formal complaint, it will be attended to. And that's why we said...
That was what I was saying, but now we made the complaint, they said it will be attended to. When PDP makes complaint, you want to address it here.
No.
That was my rouse.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Any other comment? I think we can make progress. Please. The man behind, please. Oh, the lady. Please make your comments, please. Thank you.
My name is Honorable P. Sorama, State Collection Agent, APM, Allied People's Movement. Madam, I expected you to mention those words and the polling unit where you have overvoting.
We have not reached that level,
okay.
No, madam.
And I have a question to ask. In front of INEC, you have opportunity to accredit voters. No voter can vote without being accredited. And you are coming back to tell us that there is overvoting. How did the voter manipulated himself to vote overvoting? That's the question. I need to answer us. Thank you.
Next, please. Thank you. Next.
My name is Allen Amadeng, the agent of Social Democratic Party, SDP. In Brass local government area, I have my results here that was presented to me by my agent. Is also outside here. The election, there was no violence. I did not hear of any violence or any hijacking of ballot paper or anything in Brass local government area. The only complaint that I got from my agent was that in Sangana, in Ward 9 and Ward 10, they did not conduct election there because beavers was bypassed. Ward 9 and Ward 10. But the rest place, the election went free and fair, and this is the result signed by all our agents, all our polling unit agents, including the ward agents. They are all here to testify that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, please.
Yes, my name is Chief William Parker, National Rescue Movement, NRM. Like my colleague just said, it's so unfortunate that we're taking a system that is continuing, and we want to see how we can resolve certain things and credibility or credit be given to INEC. The APC agent have said something, and it was so surprising that immediately the PDP agent finished saying something, microphone was given to the lady to begin to go and look at agent that signed, which has never been done since we started this coalition. It has never been done. Because if that is done, some of us have a lot to say. In as much as it is, please, it will pay us a good, because INEC has always keep telling us, state your grievances, we'll look at it. Our grievances have been stated, but at the end of the day, it will end us go to court, go to tribunal for litigation and all that. We have our candidates, we have our agents who have been giving us feedbacks from there in the field. We know what happened. It's like my brother said, Ward 8 and Ward 9, those are places we know that, 9 and 10, those are places we know that it was not done. We heard it. We came back here. My agent called me from there and said, sir, nothing is happening here. I said, please, if possible, take a photo shot and send it to us. And we still have those photo shots, which we are going to present.
Thank you.
And then, again, the system, sir, please, this is a business of the party and INEC. Voting has time bound, but this matter has no time bound. If we want to express ourselves, allow us to express ourselves, because even as we are standing here, we are on national TV, and our candidate has seen us. They are seeing us, they know what is happening. News are there, informations are kept. So please allow us to express ourselves, whatever it takes us. We've been here yesterday, we went to 10 o'clock before it was 12. We can take our time, because it's important to us. There are several places my candidate won, and what we are seeing is not what is ready here. It was like a draft game allotting numbers to those who they can. We saw it is clear. And we have lots of such complaints. So please do us this favor, so that at the end, INEC can take the credibility. Let whoever want to express his grievances express. We've also said it. If these results are contestable, we will contest it, because we know that there are informations we have heard. We have results here signed. The ones that are not signed too, we have accepted it. At the end, we will come out and say, so please, let us proceed, and then let us get this result done. Because I think that we need to say, we will say it. Thank you.
Mr. Victor, my friend of yesterday, you can speak, please.
Okay. My name is Victor Renipodefisi. I'm the agent of Accord. The truth is very simple. If you are winning, INEC is good. They will keep on praising INEC, supporting INEC, that INEC have done so well. The election was free and fair and credible. Kudos to INEC. If they are losing, INEC have been the worst enemy, the worst people they have ever seen in life. I want to sincerely believe that those of you seated at the high table are well-respected citizens of this country. Especially, madam, you are a lawyer and well-respected. Rec, you are also a lawyer, well-respected. CB, also very intelligent person, well-respected, and also others. Now, the point is this. By any time we are making reference, I've said this even yesterday, we are on national TV, and whatever thing we say here, the whole world is aware. Let nobody should be able to indict anybody at the high table. Because when you keep on mentioning names, it shows that as if they are taking sides. It shows that as if they are trying to support your wish or your complaint. Sir, my agent told me.
Let's have one house, please. Let's have one house, please.
My agent told me categorically, in brass, at the center of the coalition, there were riots, and one of these agents died at the spot. He had to run away and save his life, and that was the reason why he was unable to come over to Yellow, because brass is waterlogged. It's not movable. You don't expect my agent to travel from all the way from brass to come here at the midnight to sign a result, because whatever thing that happens, life is very important, so that tomorrow nemesis will not catch up on us. Sir, I want to say this also categorically. It's not a news anymore. It's a reality. and it's what happened. His own party deputy candidate went on campaign on brass. He said, push them inside the water, kill them, and let them die.
It's okay.
He said so. He said so.
At least one house. Can we have one house? Victor. Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor. Hello, Victor. Please. Please.
Happening there at the Yenagoa Collation Center, we shouldn't be. We want to believe that the security operatives there will put the situation under control. And we want to apologize. Earlier we went off technical issues, which has been fixed, as you can see. We'll definitely reconnect with our Yenagoa Network Center as soon as that situation is, or tension rather, is doused. Let's pick up with the conversation here in the studio. Mr. Dazang, you saw the whole rancor happening there at the State Collation Center there in Yenagoa. It's just, I don't know how to describe this now, but please let me hear from you, your perspective.
Well, I think it's that show, to me, is a show of shame. The grandstanding is unnecessary. If you had issues with the collation at a certain level, your agent should have complained at that level.
Yeah.
And even if you want to escalate that complaint, I mean, that is not how to do it. People should be very civil, people should be very polite, people should respect themselves, and they should respect other agents, and then the returning officer. So I think also that at that point the returning officer should have also invited the security people to intervene, because if that is allowed to escalate, then at the end of the day violence might ensue in that collation center, and we are at the point of getting the result returned. So it's unfortunate, and normally these collation centers allow you to ventilate your views, but they should not disrupt the process. And the fact that someone disagreed with the collation exercise at a certain level, maybe at the ward level or at the state collation level, does not detract from the validity of that election. And once a return has been made, then you have to defy or follow due process, and that is what the kind of example we should set. We are dealing with a state in which you have only 8 local governments. You could imagine if we had like twice that number of local governments, what would have happened? So it's not encouraging at all. The spectacle is shameful, is disgraceful, and we expect better and more decorous comportment from people at this stage, because if you are representing, if you are an agent representing a candidate,
political party or a candidate,
or a party at that level, we expect certain level of decency and civility. You don't carry yourself as if the way they would in the motor park. So it's unfortunate, it's unbecoming, and it's a sin that should not be allowed to continue.
Mr. Modibo, I'm sure you also have your reactions to that situation we just witnessed. Mr. Dazang has mentioned the conduct of agents like that. Just 2 local government areas left, and this brass is what is bringing this whole tension. We've not even heard from the southern Ijaw yet.
Yeah, so the truth is everybody has his own right. But I think we all should understand and know that where your right ends is exactly where someone's right begins. You know, you are allowed to air your grievances and say whatever, but use of foul language, use of force, or use of trying to fight or something is another thing is in an entirety. And the law says air what you think it's a problem for the commission to take what you're saying, but it did not say disrupt the process. And what we just saw is rather unfortunate that it's party agents, and these are people that entrust the people of Bayelsa entrust their candidates to vote for them. Now, what you're showing there is automatically you're showing what will happen or how it will happen. So I think it's unfortunate for people to disrupt process, and it's better they allow the process to flow.
Information reaching us says that that situation has been put under control. So let's connect back to the State Collation Center there in Yenagoa.
Southern Ijo is still not ready. Yeah, so we will plead that we will return back to this hall in the next 1 hour. Yes, in the next 1 hour, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, there you have it. In the next 1 hour, the state returning officer has said that they will return, or rather reconvene, to pick up with the final collation of results there. And you're sure to stay tuned to the network service of the NTA, because we'll bring you every detail as they unfold. Mr. Modibo, you were just sharing your thoughts on that, so please go ahead.
So I was just saying things around disrupting process is actually unfortunate. I mean, what are you trying to tell the people that already voted your candidate? Because all of them are representing a candidate, from the PDP to the APC to the ACOT and to the SDP. All of them are speaking to the number of people that might have voted for them or something. And I also want us to, the people that are there, to note that, politics is around, or is about ideologies. Right? So people believe in the ideology that a particular party represents, and that is why they are going further to say, oh, okay, we are voting for this particular person. And you that is representing the person, obviously, if they said, I'm representing this very person, I am representing the brand, I'm representing what that person represents. So if you're showing yourself today on national television trying to fight, which is not good, we should not say is something that any of the candidates should represent. What are you telling the people? They have made a mistake, because they have definitely voting someone that is bringing fight or disrupting process. So I think it's normal for us to air our thing, but come on, look at it. Bayelsa just have 8 local government. Kogi has 21. I think Imo has 23 or
27.
27. And I mean, the process has ended since, So, I know every state has its own peculiarities, but I think those people should try as much as possible not to disrupt the process and not to cause another issue that will lead to another thing. We all know that they only have Bayelsa before any other thing. So Bayelsa remain after every other thing. So let them just put that in context and then abide by the rules and see what will unfold. We're going back in the next 1 hour. I pray in that next 1 hour we should be done with the entire process. And then, there are grievance mechanism that is set in place. You approach the court, that is the tribunal or that distinct to air your grievances. We've seen what happened in Kano, we've seen what's happening in Plateau, we've seen what's happening in Adama and other things. So let's just follow the process.
Okay, and just before I bring in Mr. Dazang, our correspondent Kingsley Amajiri, we saw him earlier during the news. He's set to feed us with information from Yenagoa State Collation Center. Kingsley, if you're ready, please just connect with us right away. Go ahead.
All right, the electoral officer, the state returning officer, Professor Farouk, just announced that they will be reconvening in the next 1 hour. But for today, the results from Grass local government area has been announced. This brings the total number of collated results in the state to 7. You recall that Bayelsa State has 8 local government areas, so we are waiting the last local government area, Southern Niger. When that is announced, the final winner of this election will be determined. At the moment, this is the situation at the State Coalition office here in Yenegua, the Bayelsa State capital.
Okay, Kingsley, just before I let you go, I know you're under pressure there too, but very quickly, please. Following the whole situation you witnessed there live, what's the situation at the moment with the agents? Have they comported themselves? What could have caused the whole rancor?
All right, it's all about the arguments that are arising from the outcome of the coalition. Some of the party agents are raising issues about compliance to the INEC process. And actually, why the coalition held yesterday, while some of those party agents raised certain issues, the state returning officer directed that they should make a formal complaint to the commission. This morning, when they resumed today's session resumed, one of the party agents raised also concern, but the other one took offense that the state returning officer directed that the explanation be given, which the other party agent said this has not been the standard that have been set so far since the coalition process began. From this own perspective, formal complaint ought to also be written to the commission, why it will be addressed maybe later on. That was what generated the heated argument you saw at this coalition center. But in any case, the hall have been stabilized. Normalcy, of course, have taken course, awaiting the next 1 hour when the remaining Southern Niger local government area is expected to be collated.
All right, thank you very much, Kingsley, for that update. I'm sure we'll connect with you again as soon as they reconvene for the final collation of results. Thank you, Kingsley. All right, okay. Our correspondent there, Kingsley Amajiri, feeding us with update happening there at the State Coalition Center in Yenagoa. Mr. Dazang, I'm sure you wanted to react before we cross over to our correspondent there. I know agents like this, they stand up to interject the process because they're fighting for transparency and accountability. But in what manner are you supposed to fight for that accountability and transparency? When we were off air, you were just sharing with Mr. Modibo that it's not every agent, it's not compulsory that you must sign the results sheets. And at the ward center, you're supposed to be there, to follow the process. So you were there. Why didn't you present your complaint? Why come to disrupt the process?
Yes, I think the issue of these polling agents is coming to the fore, particularly in the conduct of this election. And I think it is a good thing. Number one, before now, not much premium was laid on the place of the polling agent, in spite of the fact that they have a very crucial role to play in the process. But the Electoral Act 2022 elevated that position and invested it with some measure of power. In time past, all that the agent or representative of the party or candidate needed to do was to present himself at the point of distribution of sensitive materials, result sheets, ballot papers, and so on, from the CBN to the state office of the INEC, to the local government, and then to the ward and polling unit. But the Electoral Act 2022 now says, in addition to merely citing these sensitive documents, the polling agents or the representatives of the political parties can insist on taking even photographs of the relevant sensitive materials and their serial numbers. Now, I recall that last year about this time, I was in Uyo when INEC organized, with the support of the European Union and the Kuka Center, organized a workshop for the leadership of the political parties. And there were two major things. One was to explain to the political parties the provisions of the Electoral Act, as enacted, and then to also explain to them the new roles that have been assigned to the polling agents. They were trained on that, and then it was supposed to be a kind of master trainer that you now cascade the training from the leadership of the political parties to the polling agents. But it would seem to me as if the political parties did not even consider what INEC and the development partners were trying to do to confer knowledge of the process to them and then to the agents. Now, what is playing out here clearly shows a lack of understanding of their own roles. Because even though the Act invests the agents with some of these powers, you are not compelled to sign the results sheet.
Okay, Mr. Dazang, I would like to just hold that thought. We have a guest joining us via Zoom, and we don't want to lose that signal. She's been waiting, so let's just connect with her. Madam Patricia Maduemezi, I hope I got that right. She's the Director of National Orientation Agency at Bayelsa State. She's joining us via Zoom there. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us, and we do apologize for keeping you waiting. Very quickly, Mr. Dazang was just sharing with us the aspect of training when it comes to electoral processes and all of that. And I'm sure you follow the development happening there as a state collation center in Yenagoa. How would you react to that?
Well, my reaction is that is unexpected of them, because if you have this reorientation and the process of election, you're not supposed to be displaying what they just displayed here as enlightening people. They know how to present themselves when it comes to any issue concerning grievance after elections. They know what to do. You put it into writing and it will be taken care of. But for them to display that kind of attitude, I think it is their upbringing. The much way they understand what electoral process is all about. Because if whoever you are representing is cool-headed and he knows the law, he knows what to do, I don't think he will allow you to behave the way they have behaved here just now. Because for them to even use mouth and start using their feet, it is very, very, it's not a welcome development at all.
Now, this behoves more when it comes to, you talked about reorientation, and I'm sure that responsibility falls on the National Orientation Agency. How much sensitization was carried out? I know voter education has to do with the INEC, but reorientation aspect, for the electorate to understand conduct of electoral processes, when participating, even if you want to give in your full active participation, there should be conduct, there should be decorum when it comes to that. How much was done in that aspect by the agency?
Actually, we did that. Even my university chief was in Yenagoa to flag off the sensitization process that is exactly around them.
Okay, well, we've lost Madam Patricia Maduemezi. I'm sure if we're able to connect again, we'll rejoin her because the signal there is very poor. I don't know why, and that's why Mr. Dazanga had to. Okay, I'm told she's back. Please go ahead. Okay. We'll wait to get more information from her end. You just heard what Madam Patricia was just saying.
Yes.
Sensitization obviously is usually carried, and trainings, you know, not just by INEC and also by NOA. So you were just sharing with us those thoughts.
Yes, what I was saying is that there was a master trainer or trained the trainers for the political leadership of the political parties about the role of polling agents, particularly with respect to the Electoral Act 2022. And it would seem to me as if the political parties did not cascade that training, you know, to their polling agents, as evidenced by this kind of comportment. And I'm aware that a number of persons, even in INEC, retired INEC people, approached one or two political parties to say, look, in view of the amendments to the section concerning polling agents and so on, we want to do a kind of training for you, you know, and they didn't bother to, one or two, I know one or two resident electoral commissioners who tried to interest the political parties to take advantage of their knowledge of the process to train their polling agents, and they didn't take advantage of that. So here we are, and then this kind of unfortunate display. And this is supposed to be, if you are representing a governorship candidate, you are supposed to carry yourself with the highest sense of responsibility, because it is like the candidate himself talking, because you are representing him. And if you are, for example, representing NTA at any occasion, you must carry yourself very well, and even if you are provoked, you know, you must calm yourself down, knowing that this issue does not concern only you, but NTA as an organization, as an institution, and this is an institution that goes back to decades, and it has produced so many people who have gone through it, and therefore anything you do, you know, must be informed by all this sense of responsibility. And it is unfortunate that this played out, and because it also speaks to if this is the kind of person you are presenting as someone who is your image maker, then that's a challenge. But I think also that what is relieving is that eventually the returning officer was able to call for the intervention of the security agents, and they did the needful by dousing the tension. And we also hope that the other outstanding result, being the one being awaited, will soon be presented.
Okay,
we recognize that Bayelsa has peculiar terrain, and probably that explains why the collation for the outstanding two local governments, Brass and Southern Ijo, was delayed until today to allow those who are bringing the result, you know, to take their time to bring it to Yenagua. Because I had observed earlier on that when you are on the high sea, it is prudent for the boats carrying the staff not to overspeed. And it is also, for safety reasons, it's not wise to drive the boat into the night. And I think that may have informed why they delayed this aspect of the collation until today, so that they will bring in the results from those distant places.
And just to refresh our minds, with the Brass local government area results that was announced earlier, APC 18,431, LP 83, and NRM 31, and PDP 12,602. Mr. Modibo, you are a data collection, you're the head of data collection and an election observer, and I know you visited about seven local government areas in Kogi State. Kogi is done. But from data you're collating for Yenagua, It's just 8 local government areas. And I heard you lamenting earlier to Mr. Dazang, just 8, and we're having this drag till this time. Based on your observation, what could be responsible for this?
First of all, there is a natural cause of, the part of Bayelsa that is a riverine area, so accessing that communities has to do with a lot of hustle, from, the waterways, and then more of like a logistical issue. And then another thing has to do with, election, like in Brass, election was done, concluded and everything. What was remaining was the ward to local government collection, and there was some level of issues, security issues that lead to some level of pockets of violence around that, which was able to, which the security were able to address it. So particularly now, we've been trying to receive report of what is happening in the southern Ijo to know what is the problem, a state that has 27 local government as well as the one that have 21 were able to conclude the process. But if you look at what is happening during the coalition center, of which that's what he was talking about around what people are putting up, and if you look at what happened yesterday, is the same thing. A lot of people have a lot of concern, and when you have concern, you don't pay attention to details. You just want to speak about everything, and just so that I don't know, maybe so that their paycheck will be identified or what. But that is the issue. But I think it's an issue that we should not disrupt. It's an issue that we should do it based on time, because a lot of people have a lot of things to do. Maybe none of you might have envisioned that the result and stuff will take till Monday.
Yes.
So it might have disrupted even NTA. It might have disrupted some programs of NTA. It might have disrupted some programs of the people, the commissioners, the police that are there, that have to keep calm before redeploying back to their base. So the other man is saying they have all the time to wait. The country will not wait for just Bayelsa. Yes. So we just have to realize that, okay, this process is a process that has a lifespan. Let's just do it and finish up the process, because whether we like it or not, there will be someone that will win the election and there will be someone that will lose the election. Yeah. That is a certain law. So why having the issue when you can approach the tribunal and get justice if you think justice is not served to you? So I think that's largely the problem, the issue of that natural cause of Bayelsa being a riverine area, as well as the issue of insecurity that was encountered during the ward to local government coalition.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Modibo. We want to reconnect to Madam Patricia Madwe-Meze. I'm sure you've heard from our guest here in the studio the peculiarities, to the Yenegua elections. And we're wondering, you were sharing with us before you went off the aspect of training, reorientation from the agency, talking about the National Orientation Agency. But the drag is what a lot of people have put questions to. Yes, I can hear you, Madam Patricia. I can hear you clearly. So please share that thought with us. What could be responsible for this?
Like National Orientation Agency, it's just an entity. When you look how to do things.
We're having serious challenge connecting with Madam Patricia, but I hope we get that as soon as possible so we can let her go. All right, Mr. Dazang, based on the data Mr. Modibo was just sharing with us, the aspect of logistics in terms of distance, why we're still having the situation, but they've given enough time to have these 2 local government areas, assemble for the final collation of results. But in all of this, at the end of the day, like Mr. Modibo said, there will be a winner and there will be losers, of course. We won't call them losers, but a time, to reflect and think of how to re-strategize. So elections, like we always say, is not a do or die affair. Beyond this whole drama we're seeing play out. What should, after the outcome of the elections, what follows suit? Beyond, we're not praying for litigation.
You see, before 2015, the African Union and international idea, I remember we were very anxious about one trend, a negative trend about African democracy, which is the inability of those who are defeated in elections to concede defeat. It became an issue. It became a major trend, and the AU was now, working on other election management bodies and stakeholders across the continent to see how they can encourage politicians to accept defeat in the aftermath of elections. Recall that even in Nigeria in 2011, we had post-election violence.
Yeah.
Many people died, houses, properties were burned because the outcome of the election it did not meet the aspirations of certain people. And luckily enough for us, in 2015, after the conduct of as we were conducting the 2015 general election, President Goodluck Jonathan, who was then a sitting president and who was a contestant, and who was under pressure, there were people around him who had already set the stage for him not to concede. But as the results were coming in and it became very clear to him that he was going to lose to former President Muhammadu Buhari, he now called General Buhari, as he then was, and congratulated him and said, "You have won this election and I'm calling to congratulate you." Even President Buhari himself was pleasantly shocked by he said it on more than one occasion, that he never imagined that if Jonathan lost the election, he was going to concede defeat in the way he did. And that has been accounted for to Jonathan as a mark of statesmanship.
Yes.
Apart from the fact that that election went well and it reflected the intent of Nigerians, here was a sitting president who had the powers, if he wanted to truncate the process, who deferred to the outcome of the election. And by so doing, he set a very big example. And he assuaged the anxiety of the African Union and international idea about this phenomenon or this negative trend of candidates refusing to concede defeat. And let me tell you, it wasn't a mean thing that President Goodluck Jonathan did. And for you to appreciate the magnitude of what he did, I then was working with a number of people amongst our development partners. I recall what one of the staff of the UN from Ethiopia told me. She said, "Look, I now feel 10 feet tall. I'm proud to be an African today." She called me to say, I'm leaving Nigeria for Europe on posting, on another assignment, but I'm very proud to be an African. I'm feeling 10 feet tall today because of what President Jonathan did for Africa. Now, after setting that a defining example, after raising the bar in terms of concession, unfortunately, what we are seeing is different from what the example that, Jonathan laid. So my expectation going forward is that people should concede defeat, particularly if the process was transparent.
Yeah.
And that is why we keep saying INEC should always do the needful by making sure that its processes are very transparent, that its logistics are top-notch, that its innovations are also in fine fettle. And thank God we have seen in this election a significant improvement in terms of the beavers, in terms of the performance of the RF, and in terms of also early opening of polls, in terms of security. Yeah. Of course, there were pockets of violence here and there, but you could see that given what transpired in those 2-3 states, and they are very negative antecedent in terms of peaceful conduct. Nobody thought that these elections will pan out peacefully in this manner. So I think we've laid a foundation. It's a very good departure from what happened in 2023. And you know, Warren Buffett, the American billionaire, who was one of the richest men in the world at a point, and who is referred to the Oracle as the Oracle of Omaha, used to say that you can take 20 years to build a reputation.
All right, Mr. Dazank, I'm told Madam Patricia Madwe-Messier is back. This time around, I want you to stay with us. Okay, Madam Patricia, we really need your views because of your... Yes, okay, I understand the network. Because of the responsibility, you know, for the agency, you've seen the whole electoral process. Going forward, you know, for subsequent elections, how much effort do you think should be put in the areas of sensitization for electorate, you know, to understand the importance of not having voter apathy, and also when we're talking of patriotism, mannerism, and conduct, you know, when agents or political parties are presenting themselves?
Okay, thank you. The NOA is actually doing their best to make sure that, you know, they create this awareness of not fighting during election. But you find out that at a point when a particular candidate will see electoral election as a do or die affair, that if I don't win, nobody wins. That whatever it will take, I have to, you know, be the winner. So it is very difficult for even NOA to sensitize such a person, because he has a very strong mind to say determination is either we do it, we get it, or we die with it. And when we have a situation like that, and you are the leader of such parties when they are out, you really know that, yes, even their agents, they will toe the same line. So we keep on doing our best going forward. We will try to call them again to order, just like children. You know, you just keep on telling them over and over again, hoping that one day civilization will come to Nigeria and we'll be able to get it right. This thing we're talking about is not just only in Bayelsa, it happens in Nigeria, because even the fear that was put into the minds of people, you find out that, you know, a few people could not even come out to vote, because before then, a month ago, people were really scared about the way people were going about this election thing, that it must be me, if it is not me, nobody else will come in. So people get scared. But we thank God that at least, even though a few lives was lost, the blood did not flow on the streets of Bayelsa the way we were expecting it to be.
Okay, Madam Patricia, also another critical area of concern is the aspect of carrying everyone along as a stakeholder in the electoral process. What's the synergy you're getting from reports? Because I'm made to understand that when there is elections like this, we have election monitors, observers who send in reports to the stakeholders. And I want to understand that the NOA is also part of the stakeholders. So based on preliminary reports you have gathered, you know, from these observers and all of that, how much do you think has been put to use in terms of implementation to have an effective and seamless process?
When the effort has yielded yielded results, because now we are seeing seven NGAs. So we just have one to go. And because of the terrain, there could be delay, there could be maybe as a result of this, they don't have.
Wow.
Okay. We lost her again. I think we should just let, I don't know if my director will allow us to allow her go. Okay, she's back. Madam Patricia, please just round off your thoughts for us very quickly so we don't lose you again.
At least for now, the election were not as bad as people were speculating, because we really are speculating that it's going to be very, very bad, as many lives were going to go down. But we thank God that everything was smooth. So we keep on talking to people, because a lot of people minds need the reorientation. We need to do a lot of awareness creation for the politicians and their agents, because not until we're able to get it right, election is going to go the way we are seeing it now.
All right, I'll have to let you go, Madam Patricia Madwe Mezier. She's the Director of National Orientation Agency, Bayelsa State. We joined her live via Zoom at Yenagoa there. Thank you so much, and do have a beautiful day as you monitor the process there on ground.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Modibo, when Madam Patricia was just speaking, you were nodding your head as an election observer. I'm sure there is an interaction, or synergy rather, between stakeholders like this.
First of all, before observing election, we try to do that usual call for that point of partnership in sensitization and partnership in trying to make the country better. So what she's saying is really the thing. People require a lot of reorientation, and INEC has been doing well when it comes to that, but it's always in celebration time.
Anytime you mention INEC has been, this is like the third time you've mentioned it. I could just imagine the joy Mr. Dazang's heart.
To be honest, I think sometimes we a lot of times people look at civil society organizations as antagonistic organizations, and obviously, when there is a good thing, we have to say that this is good. Yeah. We have been part of looking at that voter education of INEC, but I have to say it has always been during like a celebration time. And one of the recommendations we have given during the 2023 general election in our report has to do with having INEC create community radios, or have a radio station, or have a place where, more of like a newsletter or something that people will be aware of the kind of things that is happening within the INEC system.
Yes, and it shouldn't be, sorry to cut in there, it shouldn't be always when it's close to a year to the time, then we see the sensitization heat up.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I always say, I was opportune to go through the contingency plan that INEC had. And it's a very robust one. If you look at it, anybody that haven't to have like that document will know that these are people that are ready, willing to, give us that thing we require. We are progressive, we might not be moving the way we ought to move, but I think we are going somewhere. The only thing is we need to be fast a little bit so that we can meet up with that point of that where we're looking for. I have observed election in Kenya, I've observed election in Liberia, right? All this year, last year and this year. And I can tell you, I was in Gambia as well. I can tell you, we've done well to some extent. But the only problem that INEC has to do in recreating the whole thing is the fact that there are three things involved in this process of election, or INEC as a commission. There is trust, belief, and hope. Right?
You left out confidence.
Yes. So why I left out this particular thing is that is what INEC, that's the disconnection between INEC and the people, and maybe my own generation, that's the young people, because the reality is something, we were promised something, right? and then that thing did not happen. And there was no explanation. It's only when we get to the tribunal had to explain that, oh, it's at the discretion of INEC to do this and this and this. So I think if INEC is having like more of like a monthly newsletter or a radio show that will sort of speak to people, to inform people that, see, the commission is trying to do this and this and this and this, and this and this and this policy is going to help in this and this and this, right? It sort of have people be informed on those particular things. That will boost the belief of people to the commission. That will boost another level of trust to the commission. And at the end of the day, people will have hope that the commission is going to present something credible. Because now, if you look at going back to the confidence of what people are having, certain number of people do not go out to vote because they feel their vote does not count, right? And I always say, if their vote doesn't count, politicians will not use their money to buy vote. That is another thing. But they believe that their vote does not count because they feel elections are not free and fair, right? So if you move the fact that there are people that we bring into the system to come and conduct this very election, and these people belong to a constituent. So if today, as he is a former INEC personnel and he lives in a particular place, if those people, if election is rigged or something and everything goes, it affects him too.
Yes.
Right? The way it will affect me. So we ought to understand that these people also belong to a constituent, right? So I think the commission has to do something around boosting that level of hope, trust, and belief for people to, come in. A lot of times this election, this off-cycle election that we just concluded, people just thought that, okay, a lot of people are saying INEC is going to do something to redeem
its image, yeah.
Its image. And if you look at what happened, I will tell you, as someone that observed Ikiti and Oshun, then the general election, then this very election, you could see that there have been level of INEC listen. And the biggest point of everything in election is listening. I was meant to understand that we stayed almost a week plus in Kenya. They've had an issue. There were a lot of issues. But their own issue is before swearing in or anything will happen, all the tribunal and every cases will be trashed out. You get, and that's the difference from them. And one of the recommendations we've made was around looking at, see, the same beavers we call beavers in Kenya, they call it Kimcard. Everything we do here is exactly what Kenya does in their election. The only thing is they have more other things that they do that we don't do. Like they do diaspora voting. In, I think, 15 countries participate, 15 or 10 or thereabout participated from this. And then for them, they don't have that unique point to say they are building a central pool where your voter's card, your international passport, or your driver's license, any government approved ID card can enable you do election. The only thing is prior to the election, you go and submit that this is the ID card I will be using to cast my vote, right? So these are things that if we adopt, if you look at the number of Nigerians that are outside the country, if the fact that they cannot travel down to come and do election, if some certain countries, right, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa and other part of the world can conduct in that, we will go a long way. And one of the last thing I would say, we really love to see, this is 21st century, we would really love to see technology played out in our election. But I tell you, there was a time I joined some INEC commissioners to the UK for a training, and I happens to be part of it. And then we went to one company that built on the electronic voting machine. And the CEO of that particular company said, there are two things involved. If you want to rig election with an electronic machine, you need one person. If you want to rig election manually, you need hundreds of people. Right? Which one do you want to do? You get my point. So that is not to discredit the level of participation of technology in the election, but if you scan through both the developed nation, the developing nation, and the people that are coming up, you could count the number of people that are doing electronic voting, right? Because of the dangers of it, you know. So the reality is, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, as we advance, we're having beavers now, we're having IREF, we're having other things. We can always see the challenges and the positive event of those things. We can keep growing. We can keep making the positive impact of it. But we have to, the INEC as a commission has to go back to see how they can put the information, all right, the information that of what the commission is going through to the public, so that the public will be able to trust the system that the commission is building, have hope in the commission, and then believe that the commission will one day do a free, fair, and credible. In as much as we're doing, but we still have that level of pocket of issues that will discredit it. There is no far-fetched election. I mean, ever since I started observing election, I've come to realize that it's hardly for you to see a very perfect election. But there are things that we should not record. I tell you what, during 2019, right, there are issues that we recorded around having a ballot paper without ballot box, with a ballot box without cover. You know, it has been an issue that we ought to have not recorded. And one thing generally that for us in connected development we're trying to do is we have neglected some path of election, right? We think it's not important, like as for people in the civil society organization, like elections like the local government election. If you look at what happened in that, if we're going to correct that very well, it's very cardinal that local issues are meant to be addressed in a local way, right? So I think we're trying to strategize and see whenever there is a conduct of election in any state, we're going to see how we can deploy our local observers to see how we can generate information on how those elections are being conducted. Because
and how they can be,
better.
Yes, how they can be better.
A lot of times we just focus on general elections. Off-cycle election is not something that a lot of people focus as well.
Yes, as long as it doesn't concern their state.
Yeah, I know it doesn't concern a lot of people, and I know but we should know that it's INEC that is conducting the election, and it's very expensive, right? Election in the FCT local government election, a lot of people don't pay attention to it, and I think that's one of the
a lot of people don't even know when it happens.
Thank you. So I think that's one of the things we're trying to strategize to see us looking at this level of solving issues, that may come up, so that we can just solve the problem from top to bottom and from bottom to top.
Mr. Modibo, brilliant initiatives you've presented here. And Mr. Dazang, one question that will bug the mind of anyone listening right now is, what could be responsible for that delay in terms of, it's only when the elections are near, then INEC comes out to list out candidates and terms for election process and all of that. Sensitization should be a continuous thing. But you tell us, is it funds that is responsible, or what could be really? Because if you want to bridge that gap of sensitization for the populace, you need enough time, because you're dealing with millions of people who you want to participate in election, so that it's not when there is election that we come out here and say, oh, there's voter apathy and all of that, when people don't have confidence in the process. So what could be responsible? Why wait that long? You are a stakeholder in this business. Go ahead, please.
Stakeholder indeed. Well, we need to appreciate a number of things, and thank God he raised a number of things, and some of the issues he raised may not be particularly, with due respect, may not be particularly informed, and since I'm here, I'll provide the gaps. Now, when you conduct elections, there are 3 cycles: the pre-election, the election proper, and the post-election period. In time past, voter education and publicity was limited to shortly before the election and then the actual conduct of the election. But by and by, the election management body, appreciated that you must do voter education around and along the 3 cycles. You cannot isolate any of the cycles.
Yeah.
You must do voter education before the election, during the election, and after the election. You provide information regarding the conduct of the election before its conduct. You provide and intensify information during the conduct, and you explain the procedure and the processes, and then you now manage the outcome of the conduct of the election by providing information also. Now, to do voter education in a robust manner requires a lot of funding. Funding beyond what is being appropriated for the Independent National Electoral Commission. But thankfully also, in realization of the paucity of funds, INEC also collaborates with civil society, and it gets technical support from development partners. A lot of the workshops you see INEC conducting, a lot of the engagements it does with stakeholders like civil society, media, traditional rulers, leaders of faith-based organizations, traditional rulers, women groups, youth groups. This support comes from development partners. Outside, of course, INEC spends the money appropriated for it, but like I said, it's always not adequate. And for the 18 years I was involved in publicity and voter education in the commission, we have had to do all the things that you thought we were not doing. We used to produce a newsletter, a monthly newsletter called the Electoral Magazine. We used to produce...
Where is it being transmitted?
Excuse me.
Okay.
A weekly program on television, voter education.
Okay.
The INEC half hour, which used to air either on NTA
it airs on NTA
or
too.
AIT.
Yeah.
Thank God you can remember that one. We have the daily bulletin,
okay,
which is produced by the department on a daily basis based on activities that are unfolding, and soft copies of the daily bulletin are shared to stakeholders so that they are kept abreast of what is happening. In addition to this, INEC also consciously does publicity and voter education by radio. There are, sometimes it gets support from development partners, sometimes it pays for like 3 months at a tranche, and it does voter education along those 3 months. Then it renews it for another 3 months, like that. So, in the course of the year, if there are any elections taking place, either off-cycle, by-election, supplementary election, all these issues will be discussed, using this platform.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And the INEC half hour and the Electoral Magazine. And then, in addition to this, with the popularity of social media, because as we speak now, from my record, on a daily basis, not less than 100 million Nigerians use the internet every day. And during elections, particularly during the 2023 general elections, I don't have the record for this off-cycle election, the number increases to more than 100 million. And INEC takes advantage of this presence of people on social media to put messages on social media platforms like its website, like Twitter, Facebook, and so on. And then it has an INEC Citizens Contact Center. Now that INEC Citizen Contact is manned by youths like you who are internet savvy And what they do is they receive information on a daily basis, inquiries they are received, and then the responses are made timeously. In fact, real time. If you ask questions, they answer. If it is beyond them, they escalate the questions, and the relevant...
Is it still active?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The Annex Citizens Contact Center.
Okay.
And you can always access the website of ANEC on www.anecnigeria.org. I have left, but I have not forgotten the website to show you that I still visiting.
Because you're a stakeholder.
Yes. So all these have been there. And I know that sometimes because the funds may not be there, so these programs might be limited towards the election. But otherwise, whenever funds are available, the Commission recognizes the need for it to engage. And through the engagements with the media and civil society, you know, anything that happens, like...
Mr. Dazang, sorry to cut in there. We're just getting information that Yenagoa State Collation Center has reconvened. Can we get an ambience, please, so that we know what's happening?
The atmosphere is conducive and
All right, I'm sure they're trying to put acts together so that they can start off right away. But while they put all that in place, let's just pick up with our conversation here in the studio. I'm sure they're trying to set up, you know, to commence properly. Mr. Dazang, please just finish your thoughts for us. The moment we've been waiting for is just almost at that time. It's not even up to 1 hour, luckily for us. So we get to know the final end of this whole wait. It's a long wait. You can imagine how this, the candidates who are vying for these top positions are also feeling, you know, the anticipation, the anxiety can be high.
So I was trying to say that there are existing platforms through which the Commission reaches out to stakeholders. And funding permitting, it tries to make sure that these platforms are working, and they are working robustly. And there are, in fact, I've not exhausted some of the platforms that they use. For example, we also reach out to vernacular speaking stations like the BBC Hausa. On 1 or 2 occasions when I was there, I've sent my staff to come and patronize and take advantage of the NTA, Igbo and Yoruba media of the NTA. I've also taken advantage of the Hausa program on the NTA. During the 2023 elections, I was there 3 or 4 times, to explain the process for your Hausa audience. So I wish I could speak Igbo and Yoruba fluently. I could also have done that. So to tell you the extent to which the Commission goes out of its way to take advantage of existing media platforms, traditional and otherwise, to make sure that they reach out to Nigerians. And but of course, there are times when people might feel that the Commission is not fast enough for their liking. But you see, you run a commission. There are messages you don't just send out unless they have been discussed thoroughly, the implications of whatever you want to send out have been trashed out, and a decision or decisions are taken regarding them, and there is consensus about what to say and about who to say them, you know, and so that the spokespersons for the commission are saying the same thing at the same time. You don't send discordant tunes. You don't sing discordant tunes and then confuse the stakeholders. So these are some of the things that are happening. And some of us, of course, come here and also augment what they are doing. We provide insights. We provide information. They make information available to me. As a stakeholder, I'm interested in what they do, and I think perhaps I'm not thumping my chest more than any other person. I've written about the electoral process in the popular newspapers, week in, week out, explaining the process leading up to the conduct of the 2023 elections on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Educating Nigerians, and the commission also was playing its part. They were also using other people, other platforms beyond the commission itself, and then they were also making information available to civil society at the national level, at the state level, our state offices, across the federation. Anytime something is agreed upon, this is the commission's position. It is immediately sent out.
Mr. Dazang, I'm sure they're about to start.
Okay.
So let's cross over to Yenagoa INEC office there. Let's get feed from that angle.
Let's be quiet so that we can get these figures that are being read out by the coalition officer. Thank you very much. So, the Southern Nigerian local government, please, the EO, you introduce yourself, after which you hand over the mic to the local government coalition officer to introduce himself and subsequent presentation of the results, please. Thank you. Please, let's have one house. Thank you.
Let me sincerely stand on all the protocols that are established since yesterday. My name is Awajoni Christian Utong, the electoral officer for Southern Ijaw local government area. Let me also use this medium to sincerely apologize for this delay, because Southern Ijaw...
EO, please, EO, don't go ahead and... please, thank you.
I am Ibrahim Khalil Adam, a professor of molecular and biotechnology from Federal University of Lafayette, standing in as the coalition officer for the Southern Ijaw local government area of Bayelsa State for the 11th November 2023 governorship election.
That's all right. So please go ahead. Tell us the areas, the number of areas that constitute the Southern Ijaw local government, please.
The Southern Ijaw local government area.
It will be followed immediately by the presentation of results. Thank you.
The Southern Ijaw local government area has 17 RAs, 17. Number of registered voters, 184,401. Number of accredited voters, 184,401. Number of accredited voters, 50153. Number of accredited voters, 50153. Votes received by parties. A, 1.
Party A.
Party A, 1. Party A, 1. Party AA, 2. Party AA, 2. Party ADC, 3-1. Party ADC, 3-1. Party ADP, 5-3. Party ADP, 5-3. Party APC, 18174. Party APC, 18174. Party APGA, 7. Party APGA, 7. Party APM 2. Party APM 2. Party APP 8. Party APP 8. Party BP 2. Party BP 2. Party LP 119. Party LP 119. Party NNPP 0. Party NNPP 0. Party NRM 37. Party NRM 37. Party PDP 24685. Party PDP 24685. Party PRP 31. Party PRP 31. Party SDP 2. Party SDP 2. Party ZLP 4. Party ZLP 4. Total valid votes 43158. Total valid votes 43158. Rejected votes 663. Rejected vote 663. Total votes cast 43821. Total vote cast 43821.
Thank you. Thank you. LGA Coalition Officer, Prof, was there any polling unit where there was no election, or the election held but the results were cancelled?
Thank you very much, the returning officer. From what was reported to us, there were RAs, of course, some polling units in these RAs where results were not presented, or were presented but due to some issues such as overvoting, snatching of ballots, snatching of Viva's machine, and of course, as a result of some of these incidents, and even hijacked, the results from those areas were not accepted.
They were recorded 0.
0, yes. Null votes.
Okay. Comments from the agents, please. Your name and then the party you are representing.
My name is Dr. Dennis Otiochi. I am, first of all, I'm wondering with the procedure, what he's saying here, because when elections are conducted, you always score 0 by paragraph 100 of the regulations for the conduct of election. You always score 0 if there was willful obstruction to the deployment of materials or the use of beavers. That's when you score 0. But a situation where elections are conducted and then results are brought, and for one reason they are cancelled, you record them and then state the number of votes, the number of registered voters in those areas in Form EC40G. Then at the local government, at the ward level, for EC40G1. But a situation where you say more than 50,000 votes scored by APC was cancelled in this area, and he is telling us that they entered 0. Look, 0 can be entered only at the ward level. The National Commissioner here knows that you enter 0 at the Form EC8B, not at Form EC8C. So he ought to tell us the number of registered voters or the number of PVC collected for those units and ROs that were cancelled. But for us to now begin to say that, oh, they were entered 0, the principle, I can read it here, paragraph 100, is very clear. That where elections, there was willful obstruction to the deployment of materials. That means the election was not held. Or the people refused to use beavers. That means the election could not go on. That is when you enter zero. And for purposes of determining the margin of lead, you will not now include those ones or consider those ones. But where election was held, and for one reason or the other, it was cancelled, you have to record it in from EC 40G1, 40G at the unit level, and EC 40G1 at the ward level, and EC 40G2 at the local government level, so that they will be able to tell us how many polling units were cancelled, and then tell us the total number of PVC collected in those polling units. It's not zero.
Thank you very much.
That is one. But where for you to say that, oh, they were entered zero, it's wrong. It's a very wrong procedure. And I believe that the REC and the National Commissioner and those INEC officials here are conversant with this procedure. Secondly, I want to vehemently protest that in Southern Nigeria, over 50,000 of APC votes were deliberately and systematically cancelled for reasons best known to the collation officers. When the results came, the results we have from the unit shows that APC scored over 70,000 votes in Southern Nigeria, but at the collation, that was the reason why Southern Nigeria was brought here to collate. And at the collation center in this INEC office here, these votes were cancelled without any valid reason whatsoever. And so we are vehemently protesting that they do not have such powers to cancel those results.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We have taken note. Please, next.
Returning officer, sir. My name is Right Honorable Talford Ongolo. I am the collation agent for PDP. Now, we have set a standard here. And in normal practice, it's good for us to be even. We have, in line with the clear position of the returning officer, what we have done, we have encouraged at all levels for people to protest in writing. We have filed, for instance, in Southern Nigeria, there were areas where materials, like particularly Ward 4 and a few other areas, materials were hijacked. There are even trending videos of how INEC officials were denied the opportunity to even handle their own materials. Thugs were carrying them on their heads and moving about. So we have filed all those things, believing that having placed them on record, they will be addressed adequately. So I do not want us, because if we actually want to take it this way, then we will now subject, because what he has made are all big and nebulous. You must, because the collation officer has said for multiple reasons, not for some, in some cases, hijacking, other cases, overvoting, so many reasons. So if you want to attack, even on the merits, what he has said, you will now specifically go to unit this. This was what happened, and I think that we are not in a position to go into that detailed inquiry here. So in line with what we have been doing here, if they have any protest, let them, if they have also filed their own, like we have done, because we have placed our own on record, so that these things we can move seamlessly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Next, the man behind. Yes, sir. Please, thank you.
My name is Ambassador Victor Ben, a state coalition agent for Boot Party. I think in line with the rules and what we've been doing here, we are not in law court. So therefore, there is no need for any form of cross-examination of LGA coalition officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name remains Joel Tubodimi, the agent for NNPP. My party, I'm speaking for my party. I am from Southern Nigeria, from Ward 10, Unit 21. I went home to vote. My vote was counted. And other supporters and party members voted there. Our agent collected the result that was given to him. He signed and he collected. I said it here before. I think this award is becoming funny. It started from yesterday. We are not small parties. NNPP is not a small party. Neither all other parties are small parties. So this award is very unfortunate. I was not even, that is, even considered to be giving my vote that I cast, I did in my place. I'm awarded 0 here. 0. What about my own vote? It's very serious. This sharing, there is God who arrests my case.
Thank you very much. Thank you, please. Thank you.
I remain. Can we hear
Let's
ourselves?
have one house, please. Let's have one house, please. Thank you.
Please, can we hear ourselves?
Madam,
Please.
go ahead. Make your comments, please.
I remain Honorable Peace Orama, APM State Collation Agents. I think we are repeating ourselves here. We are no little children. Anyone that stand up will say the same thing. And I see it so funny. As it stands, we have exhausted our time and our strength. There is no fresh air here. And I'm not ready to sit more than this. Please, can we proceed and move forward?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, please. I think that's the first person. Yes, sir, please.
It's okay.
That's the last person, please. Thank you.
Yes, my name's Chief William Spaka, the agent for National Rescue Movement, NRM. You see, like my sister said, we are repeating ourselves. It's election. And so if there is something that will occur over and over, somebody will want to say something. In Southern Nigeria, that is where the deputy governorship candidate of my party comes from, particularly Ward 16, where it is well known. We also have the results sent to us from the units there and then the ward there. But funny enough, what we saw here is 37, which of course, how long it took, even with the security agents standing there to make sure that voting do not take place. With over 13 gunboats, we are happy. That is how they decided to treat us for winning this election. They don't want the National Rescue Movement to rescue the people of Bayelsa. We have seen, but like they said, we should write officially. And we believe that it will be treated very well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. All right, I thought that's the last man.
No. My name is Alan Amadeng, a state collation agent for SDP. In Southern Niger local government area, my younger ones, they paid their transport from Yenegua here to Southern Niger, Kulama, Ward 17, to vote. They cast their vote. Our agents there, they reported back to us. All our results are intact, and we know the figure.
purpose, just to allow everyone to vent himself so that it doesn't look as if he is disallowing them to state their grievances. But sometimes also, when the leniency is overdone, some people take advantage of it. And I hope that it doesn't, what